You guys ready? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Patrick Alexander. Your name, sir?
Patrick Alexander, sir.
All right, Mr. Alexander, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass of an occupied structure or conveyance. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $250. You're also out on bond on a Osceola County case of trespass. The bond on that, I think, was $250. And when you revoked that bond and set a new bond of $500 on that one. I'll put a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, would you consider direct PTR with mental health conditions?
Is that an issue?
Based on my speaking with him today, I think it may be something to look into further.
All right, I'll do bond or PTR mental health conditions if he qualifies. Don't go back to the Walmart, Mr. Alexander. It's just causing you problems. Okay? All right.
My bond, okay.
She'll tell you.
Yeah, have a seat.
Rigoberto Beeman? Vernon, excuse me?
Yes,
Vernon?
Roberto Bernard.
Yes. Is that your name, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're here today because you were charged with, arrested for a charge of driving while license suspended. I do find sufficient probable cause, set bond amount of $500. You're out on bond currently on a DUI, driving while license suspended with permanently revoked or refusal. In case number 2018 CF 2647, this is an Osceola County case. When we revoke that bond, set no bond on that. You'll have to talk to Judge Tynan about that. Appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, would you consider setting a bond on the, setting a new bond on the CF case?
No, not at this point. I'll let Judge. Go ahead.
He's scheduled to be sentenced tomorrow, Your Honor.
Well, then that'll
he has court in the morning.
well, his sentence there, so that'll work out. They'll know that they can bring him over.
Right.
No bond.
Okay. Thank you.
John Doe. He's in jail as John Doe, although I think it's Kyle Horton. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd also like to make a probable cause argument on him as well as Mr. John Varys, and we'd like to waive the reading of the charges as well.
Or how are you going to make the argument if we don't read what it is?
Your Honor, all the police report says is that there's no facts. It just says that it happened.
Yeah.
It's the same police report for both. It doesn't allege any specific facts of what happened.
All right. I'll bind this over till tomorrow. Continued no bond then.
You wouldn't be.
Yeah, I'll give him 24 hours.
You wouldn't be willing to set a bond?
Not at this point, because we'll have to wait and see what that says. I think what the allegation is that he intentionally touched or struck Mr. Smith against his will, but I'll leave it no bond and let them handle it tomorrow. John Fillingham.
Yes, sir.
Your name, sir?
John Fillingham.
All right, sir, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of failure to register a vehicle and driving while license suspended. The bond originally was $2,500 on the driving while license suspended. I'll reduce that to $250, and then on the failing to register vehicle, reduce that to $100. Did you want to have a public defender appointed to represent you? Would you like a public defender, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender.
Your Honor, would you
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Would you consider direct PTR? I believe he qualifies.
I don't have the sheet for him.
Do you want to?
Your Honor,
Yeah,
Pat
yeah.
Hill with PTR.
What's that?
He does qualify for
All right,
direct.
PTR.
He does.
Fine, appoint a
Thank
public
you, Your
defender.
Honor.
Joseph Nappy.
Morning, Your Honor.
You are Joseph Nappy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Nappy, you're arrested on charge of driving while under the influence of an alcoholic beverage or chemical substance to the extent that your normal faculties were impaired. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $500. Would you like a public defender appointed to represent you?
Yes, sir.
I'll appoint a public defender.
Your
to
Honor,
Yep. Yep.
I would also ask for direct PTR because I believe he qualifies.
Does he qualify? I only got
Yes,
like
Your Honor.
3 sheets. Okay, PTR. Kenneth Newhouse.
Thank you, sir.
Your name, sir?
Kenneth Newhouse.
All right, Mr. Newhouse, you're here because you were picked up on 2 warrants for failing to appear, and I believe for possession of cannabis, possession of drug paraphernalia. The bond for the possession of cannabis is $2,999 and $150 on the other case. I'm going to, I'll leave those bonds in place. Did you want a public defender to represent you?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Earl Norris.
Your Honor, would you,
Your name, sir?
Norris.
All right, Mr. Norris, you were arrested on a warrant out of Volusia County for a fraud or failure to redeliver a leased vehicle, and there is no bond on that. They'll be coming to get you.
A leased vehicle?
Thank you. Stacy Tessier? Tessier? Tessier.
she's coming.
Okay. Your name, ma'am?
Stacy Tessier.
All right, ma'am, you're here because you're arrested on a battery domestic violence charge. I do find sufficient probable cause for that charge. You don't live in Osceola County, do you?
No, I live in Pinellas County.
Okay. Yeah, you guys were over here on vacation or something?
Yes.
Is the rest of your family still here, or have they gone back?
Checkout was at 10 a.m. today, so they've probably gone back.
If you go back, do you live with your mother or no?
No,
So you have a
I live
place.
by myself with my children.
So you have a place to live separate from her. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
She does live 2 houses over.
Okay. Well, I'm going to order that you not have any contact with her. Okay. At least on the time being. It might be at some point the judge may agree to allow it to be non-hostile contact, but at this point, no contact. Okay. I'm going to step on the amount of $500. You're not to have any drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no guns. Yep. She doesn't live here.
I believe she qualifies.
She doesn't live in Osceola County. So it's nothing I can.
I think she, okay. Does she qualify?
So it's that amount of
The
$500. And then with those requirements, don't have any contact with her at all. It may be that at some point your attorney, I don't point a public defender, your attorney may be able to speak with her, and she may speak with the state and indicate that she doesn't have any objection to non-hostile contact, where you can talk to her, but you can't be hostile. That's up to you. Obviously, you don't need to go to her house to get anything, do you? Okay. All right. Good luck. Anthony Vassier. Your name, sir?
Anthony Joseph Assyria, Your Honor.
Okay, you're here today because you're arrested on a warrant for violation of probation out of Osceola County. There is no bond on that. I will appoint a public defender to represent you, though. Okay. John Veers.
Your Honor, would you be willing to,
No, it's.
would you be willing, okay,
That's Judge Tynan. I'm not gonna go behind it.
okay.
John
Okay.
Veres or Veres. This is the same as the other one.
You're
Okay.
correct, Your Honor.
All right. I'll actually, it looks, well, it's only on one count. They actually set bonds on his, according to this. I see 2,000 and, although it doesn't add up, I see 2,000 and 1,000, and they have it added up to 2,500. Is that what you have? You show? So he has bonds. He also meets the criteria, I guess, for PTR. Did you want to? I'll leave those bonds in place, and then of course, if you want to, I'll give the state 24 hours to fix whatever that is.
Okay,
To get more facts, okay?
thank you, Your
So he
Honor.
actually can bond out. All righty. And last but not least, Warren Troy Tyler. This was the case from yesterday in which there was a question as to how Mr. Tyler was identified. There has been a supplement added in which it indicated that an individual named Apple had watched the entire incident and that she knew deputies, had deputies come and then identified him. So I do find sufficient probable
Yes, sir.
cause in this case. Obviously, this is not a person that you are related to or know, isn't that right? The
Yes,
person
sir.
that you allegedly battered, okay. So we don't have any problem with you having, you can return home? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll set bond on the battery in the amount of $500, the resisting arrest $500, and just no contact.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I believe he qualifies for direct PTR as well, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay, he does. I'll PTR you on that. Appoint a public defender, but you're not to have any contact at all with these people involved in the case. No drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's everyone.
Yes, I'll appoint a public defender and the ones, yep, the two folks that have to come back. All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your weekend.
You too.
Okay. Oh, could you state your names for the record? Attorneys?
Stephanie McHenry
Oh.
with the Public Defender's Office.
Jared Markley for the state of Florida.
Stephanie, do you know who that was down in Osceola? It was the same person as
That's
yesterday.
Emily Adams, I think.
Okay, in Osceola. Thank you.
We're doing those Spanish cases first. I wore them all this week when it was raining.
Someone was supposed to be here, but she'll connect.
Four.
Spanish.
She was on the, she came in on the, I think she's in the office.
Yes, Your Honor. The
There she
Spanish
is.
interpreter is on the line.
There we go. Yeah, she was in juvenile and then she went back to the office because she worked, there's work in there. That's why they got the headphones ready. I guess, I don't know. She's been patiently waiting probably for about an hour and a half.
Because you told her a little after 11.
Yeah. Oh, well. Your name, sir?
David Foy.
Doo-doo-doo. All right. Where is he? No. I have Victor Hernandez something on the top. I remember that name. And then I've got Vanover, Glover, Marsano, Maselli, Walsh.
After Tribune.
What's that?
After Tribune.
So it's a little bit further. I split them because they were about to fall on the floor, but I mean, that's the order that they were when I got them. I was close, is what you're saying?
If you kept going, it should have been a while.
Yeah, I said if I just coming out. I think those ones on the top might have been resets.
Oh, sorry.
That's the bottom, right? Okay, now we got it? Okay, good. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, David, Mr. Foy, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. What was her name?
She's here, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear testimony to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do, sir.
Your name?
Veronica Foy.
All right, and how are you? What is your maiden name?
Mercedes.
I've got Al Almaguera.
We just actually got married 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
so I haven't changed my ID just yet.
All right, what do you want to tell me? Do you want him to come home?
Of course I do.
Well, you understand, if he comes home, I can't protect you.
That is correct, sir.
And you guys are living together now?
Yes, sir. This was a misunderstanding, sir.
Well, the allegation is that he, it sounds like he headbutted you or something.
Oh, no, sir. No. I'm not whatsoever. I in no harm.
All right. Okay. Does he qualify? Yes. I'll PTR him, and he can come home, but he can't have any hostile contact with you. That means no raising of the voice, no raising of a hand, no slamming a door, no pushing a chair, nothing.
Yes, sir.
Okay? You understand that? You understand? No drugs, no alcohol.
No more.
Okay? No
Amen to
drinking
that.
at all. No guns, no weapons.
Oh.
All right, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Oh, no, he doesn't qualify. Doesn't look like he qualifies. I can't appoint a lawyer for it. What's that?
Yeah, but I make a lot of money.
For 115,000 though.
I'll represent myself.
115,000 with 4 dependents. He doesn't qualify, does he? He makes too much.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure when he told me he had 5 dependents.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Your name, sir? Thank you, ma'am.
Pierre Garcia.
Okay, he's putting on the headphones now.
Pierre Garcia. Pierre Garcia. Sí, Pierre.
Pierre Garcia.
All right, Mr. Garcia, you're here today because you were arrested and charged with battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Solemnly swear the testimony does she need an interpreter as well? Do you need an interpreter?
Yes.
Señora, levante la mano derecha, por favor, para prestar juramento.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
¿Jura y promete que el testimonio que presentará será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad? ¿Lo jura ante Dios?
Sí, lo juro.
Yes, I do.
Your name?
Diga su nombre, señora.
Oriana Antonella Flores Barone.
Oriana Antonella Flores Barone.
All right, you are the alleged victim in this case. What do you want to tell me? Do you want him to come home?
Señora, usted es la presunta víctima del caso. ¿Qué quiere decirme? ¿Usted quiere que él regrese a casa?
Sí, sí, quiero que regrese.
Yes, I do want him to come back home.
Now, you understand if he's at home, I can't protect you.
Ahora, usted sí entiende que si él regresa a casa, yo no tengo cómo protegerla.
Sí, lo sé.
Yes, I know.
And if this happens again, it may be worse.
Y si esto volviera a ocurrir, es probable que sea peor.
No, no va a volver a ocurrir porque, o sea, fue como un malentendido. Nosotros nunca hemos peleado, él nunca me ha golpeado, nunca nada. Entonces, no va a volver a pasar porque no.
No, it's not going to happen again. It was kind of a misunderstanding. We've never had a fight before. He's never hit me before. Nothing like this. It's not going to happen again.
All right, well, the allegation is that it was a misunderstanding that ended up with you having blood coming from your nose. So hopefully that type of misunderstanding doesn't happen again.
Bueno, la acusación plantea que el malentendido trajo como resultado que usted terminara sangrando por la nariz. Esperemos que eso no vuelva a suceder.
All right. I will let him, I'll set bond the amount of $500. He doesn't qualify for PTR. No guns, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons.
Your Honor, I believe the only reason he doesn't qualify for pretrial release is because he doesn't live here. Would the court consider ROR?
No. I'm going to order that he have no hostile contact with you, ma'am. That means he can't raise his voice or anything like that. No slamming doors, nothing that's hostile to you.
Se fijará la fianza en cantidad de $500. Él no reúne los requisitos para la libertad provisional. Se le prohíbe la tenencia de armas, el consumo de drogas, el consumo de alcohol, la tenencia de armas de fuego. La única razón por la que no reúne los requisitos para la libertad provisional es porque no vive acá. ¿El juez desea considerar libertad bajo palabra? No. Señora, a él se le prohíbe todo tipo de contacto hostil con usted. Eso significa que no le puede alzar la voz, no le puede tirar la puerta duro, nada de ese tipo.
Okay?
Pero él va a volver a casa.
Okay, but he's coming back home?
Yes, he will at some point today, I assume. There's bond of $500. He can bond out. Okay?
Sí, debe ser en algún momento en el día de hoy, me imagino. Ya se le ha fijado fianza de $500. Tan pronto la pague, puede regresar.
Ok, muchas gracias.
All right, good luck.
Thank you so much. Buena suerte, señora. I apologize, Your Honor. May I please request the case number?
Sure, that was 2019 MM 2485AO.
Thank you.
Okay. What's that? Yes, I'll appoint a public defender. What is her name? Is who we know? Okay. There we go. That's her. Yes. Your name, ma'am?
Alexa Anabel Lindao Sanchez. Alexa Anabel Lindao Sanchez.
Alexa Annabelle Lindao Sanchez.
Ms. Sanchez, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Your name, sir?
Frank Cordero, Frank Anthony Cordero.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear testimony I have to give you be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do, sir.
All right, you're the alleged victim in this case. What did you want to tell me?
She could come home.
Where do you guys live?
Winter Garden.
One says they don't live in the state of Florida.
She doesn't live here.
She's just staying with you?
Yeah, she's visiting.
Aren't you guys married?
Yeah.
But you're not living together?
No.
Where does she live?
She lives in Ecuador.
All right, and you don't have any problem with her coming home?
No.
And you understand that I can't stop her from doing anything to you if I let her come back home?
I understand, sir.
Okay. All right. I will. And she's not going back to Ecuador. She's going to be staying with you.
No, she's going back
When?
Soon, the 28th.
28th of April or no
March.
of this month.
Yes.
So in a couple of days.
Yes.
When will she come back?
I have no idea. That's up to her.
Does
You
she
go-
live in Italy?
She's going
Or
to Ecuador.
Ecuador?
She's from Italy, but she's living in Ecuador.
Okay. All right, I will, I'll set bond the amount of $250. No guns, no alcohol, no weapons, no drugs, no hostile contact. She can't be hostile at all with you, okay? And she can return back home. Okay? Point of public defender to represent her as well. Mhm. Now, what do we got?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. May I once again ask for the case number?
Sure. It is 2019, where is it in here? MM 2488AO. Is that all we need for interpreter? I think that's it for the interpreter. We have no other interpretation cases? Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Your Honor. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Your name, sir? Your name?
Victor Hernandez.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, you're here for a couple of things. First of all, you're here for failing to appear in 2018 CF 14498AO. In that, there's 11 counts. Burglary of a dwelling with an assault, burglary of a dwelling with an assault, burglary of a
I'm
dwelling
sorry,
with an
Judge Jewett. He's indicated to me that he doesn't understand English.
Oh, then he'll come back tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Next.
This,
If it makes him feel better, he wasn't getting a bond, so.
No iba a conseguir fianza porque no.
You're not getting a
porque no
bond
fuiste-
anyway.
exactly, it's the same, no? It's,
Es el mismo, sí. Entonces pues, vas a regresar mañana para que puedan explicar los cargos, ¿ok?
Just had her. It's just that close. Your name, sir?
River.
And your last name, is it Wanaver?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Wanaver, you're here because you're arrested on 2 charges, trespass on property after warning and lewdness. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do have a question for the state. I find that there is probable cause for the trespass. I don't know that there's probable cause for the lewdness. There's no indication that anyone saw this person do anything. And there's an allegation that there may have been some defecation in public, but I don't know that there just was the end result there, and no witness that indicated that. So I'll set bond on the trespass on the warning in the amount of $150, and I'll ROR him on the lewdness. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Yep. Your name, sir?
Alexander Glover.
All right, Mr. Glover, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of loitering and prowling, trespassing in a structure or conveyance, and possession of burglary tools. I have reviewed the charging affidavits. I do find sufficient probable cause. The bonds on that are $500 on the burglary tools, $100 on the other 2 counts. And you are out currently on bond on a burglary of a conveyance, petty theft in case number 2018 CF 1533
Your Honor?
AO. Yeah.
He's been I don't know if he's formally been declared ITP, but he's out on mental health release on both CF cases.
Yeah, I don't think he has been yet because it shows that there's return dates. So what I'll do is I'll leave those bonds in place. And you have a competency hearing coming up on April 18th and then April 29th, it looks like. So,
Well, you talking about court?
yeah. It looks like in front of,
So
I'm not sure.
So I got
So-
a bond posted though.
Yeah, I left the bonds as they are.
All right.
You're setting bonds in this case, Your Honor?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
And then he can,
I think that's right. Thank you, Your Honor.
mhm. Your name, sir?
Ricky Anthony Marcano Jr.
Mr. Marcano, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of criminal mischief. Less than $1,000. I have reviewed the, or right at 1,000 apparently. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. We do find sufficient probable cause, set upon the amount of $500, and require that you have no contact with, hold on, let me get the name, Kiara Thompson, or return to 5465 Curry Ford Road, apartment G105.
May I talk, sir?
Did you want a public defender appointed?
I said, may I talk now?
To who?
To you?
No. Not until, the judge who handles the case may agree to do that for right now, no contact.
Wait
What-
for the.
What's
He
that?
wants to say something to you, Your Honor, not to her.
Oh, I thought you said to her.
Well, I got hit by a car, and then I got a ticket, and then on top of that, I didn't get compensation for getting hit by the car about this woman you want me to stay away from, and she kept my belongings. And
Okay, that may be, that sounds like a civil
Basically,
matter, but that's
so
not a
I'll wait
matter,
for- I'll
hold
wait for
on,
the-
all
I'll wait
right,
for the
stop.
lawyer.
You're just hurting yourself. You're gonna
Okay.
start talking about your case. I don't want you to do that, because if you say things in here, they're being recorded. It sounds like that's a civil problem. That's not a reason to go and smash up someone's windows. That's illegal regardless, so.
I almost died. I almost got hit by a
You
car.
may have, I understand that. You may have a civil action against her. She may have some of your items, whatever. But you can't go and smash up her stuff in return for the fact that she's got your stuff. That's never gonna be legal. Sounds like it might be a civil matter. I'll set that bond, and then we'll, no contact with her whatsoever. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Okay.
Your name, sir?
Yes, sir.
Your name?
Andrew Maselli, sir.
Mr. Maselli, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery and trespass on an occupied structure. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause.
Your Honor, there was no,
Don't talk about your case.
there was no
Okay.
packing. My girlfriend lives there.
All right.
My landlord, her landlord don't want me there. I just went
Well-
to get my tools. I never had a trespassing ticket ever before
Well, a
in my
trespass
life.
could be that somebody was there, and if you were involved with the person who lived there, and then you had a battery charge, for
There was
example.
no battery. I just
Well, I
picked up my
understand that.
tools.
That's the allegation. I understand that. I'll set bond amount
I
of
don't-
$500 on the battery, $100 on the trespass. You're not to have any contact with, didn't highlight, Miss Janet Hall for the time being. No
Yeah,
contact.
that's the landlord. My girlfriend, but she's
right.
still my girlfriend. I mean,
That's fine. No contact with Miss Hall, and no return to the,
what time? What
Two-
what
two-
do I have to do to get?
stop. I'm talking.
Go ahead.
No return to 22, thank you.
All right.
To 2211 Diamond Drive, Orlando, Florida, until further notice. You're not to return there.
Okay.
Unless you have some items there, you can get law enforcement to go with you one
okay.
time.
See,
and
I
they'll-
didn't
and
know.
they'll get
That's
your
the only
tools.
the first
Yeah.
charge. Now, Your Honor, could I get sentenced for this now? How much time do I have to do in order to get this over with?
No, I can't take a plea on a battery charge because the victim must be made aware and they have to be involved in the sentencing. So I can't, unfortunately.
So
If it
when
was just the
is my next
trespass, I
court
could.
date?
Yeah. Your attorney will explain it to you. What's that? Yes, point of public defender. Your name, sir?
Your Honor, there is an offer in Mr. Walsh's case from the state which he would like to take.
Okay.
The offer is an adjudication of guilt, court cost, and no return to the scene.
Mr. Walsh, your attorney, it's, you wish to enter a plea of no contest, just to time served, is that correct?
Sure.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Mental illnesses, yes, a long time ago.
Yeah.
They swapped me out. They're like,
Do you take
yeah.
medication for that?
Yes, I'm on Seroquel.
Okay. And are you taking your medication? Did they give that
Yes.
to you here? So you understand what's happening here, you're doing well?
Right. I don't know what I was thinking. I just kind of got robbed at the Orlando Mission, so I left, and then I went to the wrong place. And
Okay.
I was just.
Yeah, so obviously you remember what happened. You
Yeah.
know what it's about.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
should be at
you
the
understand,
mission.
you understand. All right, and so did you, who else do you have a plea form?
Huh?
Yeah. Go ahead and sign that. All right, do you have any questions about the rights on that form? On the form? Any, about those rights that you're giving up? Any questions? Okay. You understand that this is punishable by a maximum of 60 days in jail and up to a $500 fine? That's
No,
the-
I didn't know that.
That's the maximum, but that's not what you're going to get. You understand that? You also understand that if you're not a citizen, that you would be deported based upon this charge. And I assume you are a citizen,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I do find sufficient factual basis. I will adjudge you guilty. You'll be sentenced to, what is it, 2 days? 1 day in the Orange County Jail with 1 day credit for time served. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. I'm going to reduce that to a civil judgment. Since you're living the mission, you don't have to pay that. Then the last thing is you're not to go back to that 2215 Untie. It's Uintah Avenue in Orlando. You can't go back there. If you go back there, that would be a violation of the court order, and you could be held in contempt and sentenced up to 100 days in jail. So just don't go back there, okay?
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Have a good
Good
day.
luck.
Thank you.
Tell the judge I don't want to go to jail for trespassing. Yeah, I'm a citizen of the United Nations.
Your name, sir?
Kimoya Kim Fields.
All right, Mr. Fields, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass on property after warning. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause.
Mr.
Well,
Fields would like to know if the court has an offer to resolve this case. I don't know if I had one yesterday and just,
no, he didn't come
okay.
yesterday. 3. All right. If he wants to plea, I'll give him 5 days with 3 days credit.
2 more days he'll be out if you want to waive your right to a trial.
You do want to do that? You want to enter a plea of no contest?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir. Not at
Have you
this time.
suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
I've been treated, diagnosed with schizophrenia. And,
Okay. Have they give you medication while you've been here?
Yeah.
All right. And you remember this? You understand why you're arrested? And that you were at the Walmart and they told you not to go back there, right?
Yeah. but
Okay. All right. Go ahead and
then-
sign that.
All right. Oh, my fault.
All right. You have any questions about the rights on that form?
No, not at this
All
moment.
right. You understand that this is punishable by a maximum of 60 days in jail,
Yes.
up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen. No, you understand?
Yes.
All right. I do find sufficient factual basis. I will judge you guilty of this offense. Sentenced to 5 days. You do have 3 days credit for the time you previously served. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. I'll reduce that to civil judgment too. He's not gonna be able to overpay that. So you'll have to do a couple days and then you'll be done. All right.
All right.
Don't go back to the Walmart. They're
No.
they're looking for you now. You go back there, you'll just end up back here.
Yeah.
You know.
See,
Find
yeah.
another place to hang out.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Good
I
luck.
appreciate that. Thanks. All right.
Your name, sir?
Renoir Powell.
All right, Mr. Powell, you're here today because you were arrested on a warrant for violation of probation. It was on a grand theft charge from Judge LeBlanc. There is no bond on that. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you on that violation of probation. Thank you. Your name, sir?
James Tribute.
All right, Mr. Tribute, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of camping. I do find sufficient probable cause.
Mr. Tribute's looking to resolve his case.
What does
Your
he
Honor.
have? 1, 2? It's 1 hour plea, it's just time served. And I'll reduce. 1 hour plea, sir? All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past? Go ahead and sign that. So have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No.
All right. That form there, do you have any questions about any of the rights on there?
No.
All right, and you understand this is punishable by a maximum of 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen. You understand all that? Yes? All right. I will judge you guilty, impose you to 2 days with 2 days credit for time served, court costs, and a $50 cost of prosecution, and we'll reduce that to civil judgment. So you'll be released on this case. Thank you. Now, more domestic violences. Your name, sir?
Joshua Branson.
All right, Mr. Brinson, you're here to, because you were arrested on two counts. Count one being aggravated stalking with credible threat, and count two, did they actually come up with, no, there's just one, the aggravated stalking. I have read the, this is based on a probable cause warrant. Judge Johnson found probable cause. I've read it, and I agree. Where this allegedly occurred at, you don't live there, right?
No, sir.
The allegation is that you just won't stop going there.
I don't, sir.
You don't need to say what you do or don't
Okay.
do. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Where do you work now?
At Doers Nursery.
You can think that job's still going to be there for you?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll set bond the amount of $2,500. No contact at all with, let me get the name,
Your Honor, did you say 500 or 2,500?
2,500. No contact with, I guess it is Brittany Frazier.
Yes, sir.
Or her kids, Ayala Williams, Aaliyah Williams, I guess, Kamaya Williams. No return to the Katarina Hotel, which is at on Lee Road. Okay, just no more contact. All right, none. Not okay. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, we'd like to waive the reading of the charges against Mr. Coleman.
Okay. Your name, sir?
Jeffrey Coleman.
All right, Mr. Coleman, you're here because you were arrested on a felony charge. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Who is Bianca? I don't know if they have a full last name here. Is it Bianca Coleman also? Bianca McWhorter. Who is that to you?
Oh, my baby mama.
All right. Do you live with her?
No.
So where do you live?
2720 Junior Ave, Apopka, Florida.
All right. And you have no reason to have, other than they have a kid together, no reason to have contact with her for right now? All right. I'll set my bond amount of $1,000. No return. Do you have to go back, the address that this allegedly occurred at, which is
that's my
the
house.
Junior Avenue address?
Yeah, that's my
Is
house.
that her address or your address?
That's my house.
So she doesn't live there?
No.
All right, I'll let you go back there, but you're not to have any contact with her. If she is living there, then you can't be there.
No, she's not living there.
Okay, well, I understand that. I'm just letting you know, if
Sure.
something happens and she's there, you gotta go, all right? No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no guns, no contact at all with her. Now, that may change. Your attorney may get the judge to allow you to have contact, but at this point, you're not to have any contact. That means no phone calls, no texting, no going to see her, no leaving notes, nothing, okay? It says here that he doesn't qualify for a PD.
I think that's the nature of the charges, probably. Is that not it?
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's stuck on the PD thing. Well, I'll appoint a public defender.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, you said PD. I thought you said PTR.
No.
Sorry.
Your name, sir? Mr. Ford, you're here today because you were picked up on an arrest warrant for aggravated assault with a firearm, robbery by sudden snatching, battery, and assault. As to the robbery with the firearm, aggravated assault with a firearm, there is no bond. Robbery by sudden snatching, I'll set bond the amount of $5,000. Battery, $100, and assault, $100.
When all this supposed to occur?
What's that?
When this supposed to be occurred? Because I can't run. I've been paralyzed for 3 years. I don't know when this happened.
Affidavit says on March 5th. Okay. And your attorney will have that affidavit and also the witness statements and whatnot, okay? Your name, ma'am?
Patrice Montague.
All right, Ms. Montague, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Raise your right hand, sir. Solemnly swear testimony to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Your name?
Desroy Montague.
And how are you related to the defendant?
She's my wife.
All right, and so you're the alleged victim in the case, too. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you want to tell me?
I want her to come home.
Hopefully that machete's not around.
No.
And you understand if she comes home, I got no way to protect you.
Yes,
if she
sir.
decides to, while you're sleeping, take that machete and do some damage, and there's nothing I can do about that.
Yes, sir.
All right. And so I'll order no hostile contact. I'll allow her to go home. Does she qualify other than? Yeah, she's got no priors. All right, I'll ROR. She can come home. No contact, no hostile contact with you. No, that means no raising voices, no raising hands, no slamming doors, nothing. No, nothing hostile at all, right?
Yes, sir.
No drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons. That machete needs to be put somewhere where you have it under control. Okay?
Yes, sir.
You understand all that? All right, I'll appoint a public defender also.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we'd like to waive the reading of the charges in this case.
Your name, ma'am?
Renee Phillips.
All right, Ms. Phillips, you're here today because you were picked up on 2 felony charges. And I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Are your kids with DCF now?
As far as I know.
There was something in there about, I think, a grandfather.
Yeah, he lives in New Jersey. He's supposed to drive here.
So he's come, but he has to drive down, so he's not here.
I think he told him that he'd be here Sunday. Which I
Where are you going to? Where do you live?
Ocala.
Other than the charge, is she qualified to PTR? All right. All right, I'll set bond the amount of $250 on each count. As it stands now, no contact with the kids. All right, even if they go with their grandfather, I guess I assume that's your father. That probably will change, but for right now, no contact with them. All right. No alcohol at all. That's the most important thing. No drugs, no alcohol. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you also. Your name, sir?
Christian Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of domestic violence, battery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, domestic violence, battery, domestic violence, and aggravated battery, domestic violence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause.
I just want to read it. Go ahead and give me one.
Who is Talitha Graham to you?
That is my wife.
Do you have a place to go and live?
She usually doesn't live there. She lives next door, but she always stays with her friend. Like I live with her friend, I guess.
Do you have a place to go other than that, or
Yes, sir.
where?
Anywhere else? The streets. My sister, my mom lives in
The streets?
whatever.
That's
yes.
not an answer.
Yes, that's a safe place. It's away from her, so I'll get out of trouble.
That's not going to work.
But I have my mom. She lives I plan on moving with her. She lives like in Lehigh, Incas, but I have to get like a ticket and all that, and I have to get my property before anything. But
Where does your sister live?
you
said she lives
I'm not
here?
too sure. She lives in like in the Altamont. Like I'm not too sure, but I have a number now that I could call her and all that. And you know.
Well, you can't go back to 4823 Selby Court. Can't do it. All right. So you got to go somewhere else. That's your house, right? That's your
yes.
address?
She doesn't live there. Like she don't live there.
Well, you
She
said
lives
she-
next door. She lives next door, and she just happens to come over. She doesn't even stay in my room. She's like we separated a while ago, and she just comes
Well,
back
I'm
and
not,
forth.
I,
That's not her
that
residence.
sounds a little too nebulous to me.
Nebulous.
That sounds a
Her
little
dad
unsure.
lives next door.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm
So, I will set bonds in the following amounts. In the aggravated assault with deadly weapon, that'd be $750. The battery, $500, and aggravated battery with deadly weapon, $1,500.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
No
much.
return. No return to that address, which again is 4823 Selby Court. No contact whatsoever with Talitha Graham. No drugs. No alcohol. No weapons. No guns. That may change. I want to appoint a public defender, and you can talk with your public defender. They may be able to get the court, your judge who's actually handling your charge, to agree to have either not just no hostile contact or even return to the
Lena,
home
I don't
if
have
she's
any
not
problem.
there.
Like the police have. Okay, well, the police came multiple times because like we've gotten altercations. I never pulled a weapon on her or anything like that.
Well, that's not what they say. Okay,
They're taking her word. Like
she had injuries. So
But
there's a
we
reason.
had an altercation, but like they take her too seriously, and
Okay. Don't talk me out of it.
I'm not talking out. I'm just
All
telling you
right.
the truth.
You're done.
because,
Thank
know-
you.
Okay, thank you.
Your name, sir?
Willie Tickner.
All right, Mr. Tegner, you're here today because the state of Florida alleges you were actually arrested on a battery by strangulation, domestic violence, a domestic violence battery, and a simple battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. What is this La Mojadita Court? Is that your address?
Yes, sir.
Who lives there?
Me, my girlfriend, her uncle, and her grandmother.
And is that Leah Faircloth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. She's there now? She lives there now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can't go back there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where are you going to go?
I have 5176 Edwina Street. That's my aunt,
Okay.
Priscilla Stevens.
All right, and you're also not to have any any contact at all with Leah Faircloth or Mark Farina. Who's that?
That's her uncle.
Okay, so you know him too.
Yeah,
No
she lives
contact with them whatsoever. All right, and no return to that address. I'll set bond on the battery by strangulation, amount of $750, battery $500, and the regular battery $250. Okay. No drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons. Your name, ma'am?
Michelle Clone.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I do find sufficient probable cause. And do you have a place to live other than the Seaford Avenue place?
No, I do not.
Nowhere?
No.
Well, if I give you a bond, I'm going to tell you not to go back there. Where are you going to go?
I have no idea. I'm trying to see if my daughter can go to live with her grandmother.
Where's Fernando Colon living? At the
With
house?
me at Seaford. With 3 other kids.
Okay. All right. Set bond in the amount of $500. At this point, no return to the 18360 Seaford Avenue address. You're going to have to find somewhere else to be, okay? No contact at all with Alexandria Cologne. No guns, no weapons.
Your
No-
Honor, I have her qualifying for pretrial release, is that not correct?
Yeah, let's do that. She's not. She has no address, so bond or PTR. If she can't come up with an address, it has to be verifiable. Okay, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent her. Your name, ma'am?
Adrian Ewing.
All right, I'm issuing you here today because you were arrested with, for a charge of battery, domestic violence. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. I guess we got both of you guys here. You and Vincent is here. We'll see him later. Do you guys live together?
Yeah, we was.
Who's?
But my name is on the lease.
All right, so the Lake Weston Point Lane is your actual address?
Yeah. But his name's not on the lease, only me and my kids.
All right, she has no prior, she qualifies. I'll release you PTR. No, what's that? Bond, okay, bond or PTR. Well, that address, is that verifiable? Okay, all right. All right, I'll make it $500 or PTR.
Okay.
No contact with Vincent Jones, at least until they allow that to be the case. I mean, I guess I could, do you want to have contact with him?
No, not
Okay,
at all.
perfect.
Period.
That answers that.
Period.
Because I could have asked him later, and then if he said it was okay, you guys could have had contact. But if you don't want
no
that, that's,
contact at all.
because I'm going to order him not to have contact with you when he comes in front of me,
Right,
okay?
right.
All right, so
I
you're not to have any
appreciate that.
contact with him. You're allowed to return to that address. If you can verify or give an additional address, then you might be able to be PTR'd. She gets that address and he does not. Okay, all right, so you get PTR then. You can go to that address.
Okay.
Again, same thing though, no drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons, okay?
Thank you.
All right, and again, no contact with Mr. Jones. Yeah, he's gonna have to find another place.
Okay, thank you.
Your name, sir?
Ronald Hamby.
Mr. Hamby, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and you do, I do find sufficient probable cause. I assume that Deanna is your wife. Is she still at the Robolo Drive?
Yes.
Do you have another place to go?
Yes.
Where's that?
My mother's house in Longwood.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. You're to have no contact with Deanna Hamby at all, at least on the short term. You're not to return to 8164 Robolo Drive. If you do need to go there to pick up personal items, and we're not talking about furniture or TVs, just personal stuff, maybe some clothes and some toiletries or whatever, you can do that one time with, but you need to get law enforcement to go with you. Okay, I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you.
We need to get like one of those things where you put it in a tube and it just shoots over. But you save your shoe leather. You're gonna have to buy some new shoes after a couple of weeks. Your name, sir?
Johnny Hoover.
Mr. Hoover, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. And the 5024 McDonald Road, is Mrs. Hoover at that address?
Yes.
All right. I'm not going to allow you to go back there, at least on the short term. All right. Would you have another place to go?
Yes, I do.
Where's
I
that?
have aunt's house in Leesburg, and if not, I plan on temporarily staying in a week-to-week hotel,
Okay.
just
All
so I
right.
can stay close to work.
I will set bond at $500 or PTR because you do qualify for that pretrial releases without a bond, but you're going to have to be able to have a verifiable address, okay? If you
Verifiable
can get a
address.
verifiable address, then you may qualify for that. Otherwise, the bond is $500. You're not to have any contact at all with Rebecca Hoover, none, okay?
Okay.
No drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons.
No, sir.
okay? And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Okay, how do I
wait.
prove that it's a verifiable address?
They'll talk to you about it.
Okay, right.
I have 800 a week with one, I'll just appoint it. It's fine. Thank you. You probably really love days where there's not as many domestic violence cases. Or pleas. There you go. Your name, sir?
Bobby Jones.
What was the name again?
Bobby Jones.
Oh, okay. Mr. Jones, you're here today because you're arrested on a battery domestic violence charge. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. You're also have been released on a petty theft, resisting a merchant in 2018 CF 17051AO, a grand theft 2018 CF 15572AO, and petty theft 2018 CF 15468AO. And there's some indication in one of the charging affidavits there was a Seminole County warrant. Do we have anything on that? Do we have that? Okay, so we may already have that information. Okay, I do find sufficient probable cause. The address, this 1220 East Summer and at Boulevard, is that where Jacqueline Boyd is?
Yes, sir.
Is that your house?
No, sir.
Do you need to be able to go back there?
No, sir.
All right, in that case, I will set bond amount of $750. No contact at all with Jacqueline Boyd. No drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons. On the 2018 CF 17051AO, the petty theft resisting a merchant, I'm going to revoke ROR on that. And actually, in all three, I'm going to revoke the ROR. What is the return dates for? In the first case, the petty theft and the resisting merchant, set bond amount of $1,000 on the petty theft, $1,000 on the resisting merchandise recovery, and the grand theft set bond of $1,000. And then the last one, the petty theft of $1,000. I guess he's got Seminole County, no bond, so he's not going anywhere. Your name, sir?
Vincent Jones.
All right, Mr. Jones, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of domestic violence battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Now, the Lake Weston Point Lane address was Miss Ewing's address. So if, do you have another place to go if you bond out or released?
Yes.
Where?
My aunt's house.
Where?
Aunt's house.
Okay. All right, I'll set bond in this case. Let me see what we got here. Got prior battery. Man. Set bond in the amount of $1,000. No return to 6300 Lake Weston Point Lane, number 621. No contact with Adrian Ewing, none. No phone, no notes, no texts, nothing, okay? And no guns, no weapons, no alcohol, no drugs. All right, I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Brad Parker.
All right, Mr. Parker, you're here today because you're arrested for one count of battery, domestic violence, and one count of assault, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Ma'am, raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your name?
Gail Gershcon Parker.
All right, and you are Mr. Parker's wife, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And you are the alleged victim in this case, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what you wanted me to know.
I want you to know that I love my husband. I want him home. He's the only person I've been with since we've been together. We've been
Well-
together 27 years, and this is
27 years, but if it's, if it's 27 bad years, then maybe that's not an answer. If this is the kind of behavior that's going on, those aren't good years. You deserve better. But, and second of all, he needs to let you know, I can't protect you if he comes home. I can order that he not be there, and we can get him to go somewhere else in hopes that can protect you. But I know if I let him back in the house, I can't protect you, and you understand that.
Yes, I do.
And I will allow him to come home if that's what you're asking me to do.
Yes, if he wants to come home, I want him home.
All right. There will be no hostile contact. You understand that? That means he doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't raise a hand to you, like the allegation is here. Nothing like that. No slamming of doors. Nothing that's hostile in any way, or it can be seen as hostile. You understand that?
Yes.
If he does that, you hold the keys to the jailhouse. You make a phone call to law enforcement. He's back in jail. Okay?
Yes, I understand.
Simple. All right? So that's up to you. You act like a human being, you'll be okay. Okay? And he does qualify for PTR? He does qualify. All right. I'll release him PTR. No hostile contact with her at all.
What's this?
$3,000 a month. He's got two. I'll appoint a public defender, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you all the time being. Okay. Now I guess what PTR on both counts. We'll do those, and then, or do you want me to? Is that fine? Okay. Yeah, no guns, no drugs. The usual. Okay. Yeah, no guns, no drugs, no alcohol, nothing. Okay. All right, you're all set. Your name, sir?
Christian Harper.
Mr. Andahar, you're here because you're arrested on, first of all, fleeing and attempting to elude. Second of all, 8 counts of reckless driving. And let's see. I think that's it. Is that right? There is resisting without violence and a resisting without violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. They got a whole ticket book written with your name on it. I will set bond on the fleeing attempt to elude in the amount of $1,500. In the all of the reckless driving charges, I'll reduce those bonds to $100 apiece. And the resisting without violence charge will be $250.
There are 8 of the reckless.
Yeah, there's 8. I count, and in the charging affidavit, they list 7, and then they also have the speeding or fleeing attempting to elude, so it's 8, I think. And there's 8 tickets.
Okay.
I counted 8 tickets here. That's how I got to that number. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8. Okay, I'll put a public defender on all of those cases for you. And then when we get done with him, we're going to take a quick break. Okay. Your name, ma'am?
Shannon Caldwell.
What happened to Xavier Cage? Bonded. Perfect. All right, Ms. Caldwell, you're here today because you were arrested on 3 charges. Count 1 being fraud or illegal use of a credit card. Count 2, fraud impersonating user possession or the ID of another person without consent. And finally, petty theft, second degree, first offense. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. She does not qualify.
Given the lack of history, we would ask the court to consider ROR.
Well, why does she not qualify? Oh, okay. Do you live with your stepfather and your mother?
No.
No, okay. Probably not anymore after this, I would imagine.
No, sir. I do not.
All right, all ROR on this, she has no record. No contact with Deborah Barr or, is it Michael? Richard Barr. Okay, for the time being, it might be that at some point you can, but at this point, there are witnesses in the case. No drugs, no alcohol.
Yes, sir.
Your name, sir?
Reckless Knies.
Mr. Kinesis, you're here today because you're arrested on a fleeing and attempting to elude charge. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $500.
He qualifies for pretrial release.
Oh, does he? Oh, he does. All right, I'll PTR you. Point of public defender to represent you. Okay. Quick bathroom break. Sure, or 500. What's that? $48 to 28. Tennessee. 49. Putting it down. Washington plays North Carolina. Did I pick Washington to beat North Carolina, or did I go North Carolina there? But I had, because remember, I had Washington. So what will you be doing at 5:15? Nervous at all?
There's no expectation.
Right, exactly. There's no reason to be nervous.
It's winning the ball. The only bad outcome would be a blowout. You have North Carolina.
Okay, so that was where I was off the Washington train.
Yeah, you jumped off the Washington train right there.
Yeah. One and done. It's all right though. So they were what, a 9, so they beat an 8.
All the 9s won.
But not all the 10s. Second round.
Could have been worse.
I'll be fast.
Well, she just took her break. I don't understand what, you know. What are we gonna all do it one by one? Okay, who's next? Yeah, who's next? We can all, join hands and walk out there together and wait. I know she loves being here, but clearly. But dang, let's get.
I'm sick and I've been drinking all this water and I'm like, I'm trying not to cough. So, I have a lot going on.
If I don't get sick after this weekend, it'll be a miracle, because the DCF lawyer who has had all the shelter hearings, she's like coughing and coughing and coughing, handing me all these papers, and I've been just like trying to keep my hands as clean as I can.
I'm surprised by Auburn. I'm surprised by Auburn. They squeaked
Did you
back.
see the set last night when Chuck was there before the game? They had like an Auburn blanket, they had a big tiger, they had all this stuff, and then behind him, there must have been 50 orange and blue balloons, all helium balloons and everything.
They struggled in the first round, and then they blow out Kansas.
They remember they just killed Tennessee, and they beat Kentucky. So.
I didn't even see her leave.
Oh
She left too fast. She was too fast.
no, she asked for a break. I gave her a break. She said,
I thought you were
she was stepping. She's like, I'm out.
Thank you. I was gonna try to hold it so
I
they
said
didn't have to
5-minute
walk me
break. She
out,
said,
but-
yes, I will.
You know, we have one here in the hallway over here.
Oh, I didn't know that,
Between
no.
about a bit, well, not here.
Well, I feel bad because it doesn't work, so I was like, oh, I'll just hold it, but I'm gonna be dancing up there, so.
Wow. Your name, sir? Your name?
Stephen Griffin.
All right, Mr. Griffin, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of driving while license suspended and no registration, first of all. And in addition, there's 2 other charges, possession of hashish oil with intent to sell and possession of hashish. I have read the charging affidavits. I do find sufficient probable cause. As to the driving while license suspended, I'll reduce that bond to the amount of $500, $100 on the no vehicle registration. As to the hashish, there's a bond of $1,000 on the possession with intent, and then $150 on the possession of hashish. You're also out on a battery by strangulation, domestic violence. I'm going to revoke that bond. Bond will be 0.
Your Honor, there's been no information yet. The case goes back to February 25th. I'm wondering if the court would consider setting a bond, given the fact that the state hasn't filed charges.
Okay, I'll set bond in the amount of $7,000. Just double it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And appoint a public defender in the new cases. Your name, sir?
David Irizarry.
Mr. Irizarry, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of possession of cocaine, resisting an officer without violence. I did read the charging affidavit and do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $1,000 on the possession and $100 on the resisting. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Carlos LaBoy.
Mr. LaBoy, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft 3rd degree. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. I will set bond in the amount of $1,000, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Hewlin Milton.
All right, sir, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of grand theft 3rd degree and dealing in stolen property. I have read the charging affidavit. Actually, this was based on a probable cause warrant. I've read that probable cause warrant and agree with Judge Epperson. Set bond on the grand theft in the amount of $2,500, $1,000 on the dealing stolen property. You're out on bond on a grand theft 3rd degree and a possession of heroin, possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to revoke those bonds and set no bond on those. Appoint a public defender on the new cases.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your name, sir?
Clayton Middlebrook.
Mr. Middlebrook, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of failure to redeliver a hired vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Based on a probable cause warrant. I do find sufficient and agree with the probable cause set bond in the amount of $1,000. Appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Rodolfo Rico Jr.
All right, sir, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of possession of cocaine. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $1,000, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you. What's that? Oh, there's another case. Yes. All right, okay. It's the same charging affidavit. We do find sufficient probable cause on that, and set bond in the amount of $1,500. Public defender appointed on both cases. Your name, sir?
David Roberts.
Mr. Roberts, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of possession of THC and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $1,000 on the possession of the THC and $100 on the possession of cannabis. You're out on bond in case number 2018 CF 16653AO for possession of cocaine with a weapon, possession of firearm and conviction of a felony, possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of cannabis. I'm going to revoke those bonds, set no bond. I'll appoint public defender in the new cases. Your name, sir?
Danilo Sanchez.
All right, Mr. Sanchez, you are here today and a number of things. First of all, you were arrested on a charge of fleeing, attempting to elude, and resisting an officer without violence. I did read that charging affidavit. Do you find sufficient probable cause? There was also a charge of reckless driving. Bond was set in the amount of $500 on that case. As to the other two charges, hold on. There's also an out-of-county warrant for violation of probation. And there is no bond on that, and that is from, let me see, it is from, where is it from? From Hillsborough County, I guess, looks like. There's 2 counts of violation of probation, out-of-county with no bond. 3 counts. There's no bond on all of those. On the fleeing, attempting to elude, I'll set bond in the amount of $1,000. The resisting an officer without violence, $250. Which one? 1,000, and then 250. I'm going to raise that other one, and then I guess everything else is. Oh, and the reckless, I just stayed, and then everything else is no bond. And appointed public defender on the new cases. Your name, ma'am?
Shauna Sharbury.
Miss Shirley, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of possession of amphetamine, possession of synthetic cannabinoids, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bond will be stayed in the amount of $1,000 on count 1, possession of amphetamine, $150 on the possession of the synthetic cannabis, and $100 on the possession of paraphernalia. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you on those cases.
Would the court consider ROR? She can't afford any bond, and she's indicated to me that she cares.
I've never ran. I've never ran or anything, Your Honor.
You've never what?
I've never ran or not missed court, Your Honor.
Looks like you have charges pending out of state.
No, I don't, Your Honor. They already
Is
cleared
that what you
them.
guys showed? Doesn't it say out of state arrests, possession of controlled substance pending since 1/5/18, possession of drug paraphernalia pending 1/5/18?
No, they all got took care of, Your Honor.
What's that?
They all got took care of.
They just don't have a disposition, so.
Oh. All right. All right.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Point of public defender. Don't fail to appear.
I
Don't
will not,
disappoint
Your
me.
Honor. I will not. Thank you.
There'll be probably a lot of people betting against you, so
Okay.
prove them wrong.
I'll prove them wrong.
Yeah. Your name, sir?
My name is Derek Williams.
Carliff Trosh, did he bond? All All right, Mr. Williams, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of petty theft, 2 prior convictions. I have read the charging affidavit. Do you find sufficient probable cause? I'm going to set bond, I'm going to reduce the bond to the amount of $500. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, he doesn't qualify.
Your Honor, would you consider ROR? Mr. Williams has indicated that he cannot afford any bond.
No, this is his second arrest this year. He's got priors that are theft related. I don't think we can protect. Yes. Yeah, PTR 500. I think. What was the charge? Yeah, or 500. Because apparently there's some questions whether he's going to have an address. But at the, yeah, he did, and then at the last minute she said, on the Canisius case, was PTR, and then I guess you had some discussion.
He also asked for or $500 bond. I think he wants to bond out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Ernest Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, you're here today for a couple of things. First of all, you're arrested on a charge of possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of methamphetamine with a weapon. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. And in addition, there was also some traffic offenses, a no motor vehicle registration, and I do find sufficient probable cause on that. Set bond the amount of $100 on the no motor vehicle registration. And then the other two, set bond the amount of $2,500 on the possession of methamphetamine with a weapon, and $100 on the possession of drug paraphernalia. I will appoint a public defender to represent you on those cases. Your name, sir?
Patrick Hayes.
All right, Mr. Hayes, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of driving a motor vehicle on the streets and highways of Orange County, Florida, while at the time you're under the influence of an alcoholic beverage, chemical substance, or controlled substance, a DUI charge, and that, okay, there wasn't one, though. I do find sufficient probable cause for that. He does qualify for PTR. All right, I will PTR you on that case, and it doesn't look like you qualify for a public defender. Yeah, $6,000 a month, you don't qualify, so I can't appoint a public defender. No alcohol or no drugs, okay, while you're out. That's a condition of your PTR, all righty? Your name, sir?
Louis Ortiz.
Mr. Ortiz, you're, Craig Sheard, he bonded out. Craig Sheard? Okay, we got him. Oh, there we go. All right, Mr. Ortiz, were they stuck together? All right. Mr. Ortiz, you're here today because you failed to appear. There's a warrant for you for failing to appear on driving while suspended. KP's amount of $2,500. PD was previously appointed. Now we got Mr. Sheard. Thank you. Your name, sir?
Craig Sherd.
Mr. Sherd, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of no valid driver's license. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. So you're interested in resolving that? That way I don't have to deal with the other case.
Not parole, not on parole. Yeah, I haven't been violated.
All right. Then I wouldn't do that. I'll set bond the amount of $500.
All right.
Is there a hold on it for that?
No.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I'll just leave that in place then if there's already a hold on it. Appoint a public defender on the no valid.
Yes, sir.
Guess I missed that. Oh, I was on the wrong page. That's what happened. All right. Paul Stedman. Your name, ma'am?
Nicole Christ.
All right, ma'am. Ms. Christ, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass after warning and petty theft. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $500 on the trespass, $100 on the petty theft. You're also out on bond on a battery on a person of over 65 years of age and a possession of a controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia. I revoke those bonds. On the battery on a person over 65, or there'll be no bond. On the possession of controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, new bonds of 500 or 750 apiece. Is there two counts? Chris. Oh, the case number. It is the 2019 CF 2435AO. 750 apiece. Point of public defender on the new charges. Yeah. Your name, ma'am?
Melissa DeRosa.
All right, Mr. Rosa, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of resisting an officer without violence and disorderly intoxication. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause on those.
There's an offer from the state of a withhold of adjudication on both charges and court costs. Ms. DeRosa has indicated that she'd like to take that off.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rosa, your lawyer indicates you want to enter a plea of no contest then to the charge of resisting an officer without violence and disorderly intox. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No.
Did that plea form, you understand all the rights on that?
No.
Do you have any questions? You didn't understand it or you do?
No, I do understand.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right. You understand that the resisting is punishable by a maximum of a year in the county jail, and the disorderly intox is punishable by up to 60 days in jail. But the agreement is that you're going to be sentenced to the time you've served. Do you understand all that?
Yeah.
And you also understand that if you're not a citizen, that these pleas would result in your deportation if you're not. You understand? Okay. I do find sufficient factual basis. I will accept your plea. As to count one, resisting an officer without violence, I will withhold adjudication. How many days? Sentence you to 2 days in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit for the time you've served.
Okay.
And then count two, I'll withhold adjudication as disorderly intox, 2 days in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit for time served. Those sentences run concurrent with one another, okay? There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. Now, would you like to pay that? It's a total of $273. Would you like to pay it in 90 days, or would you like a payment plan of $20 a month?
90 days.
All right, pay within 90 days it is. Your paperwork will explain it. Thank you. You'll be released as to this case.
Okay, thank you.
Who's next? Somebody step up. Your name, sir?
Alexander De Jesus.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on 2 charges, resisting an officer without violence and providing a false ID to a law enforcement officer. I have reviewed that. I do find sufficient probable cause.
Your Honor, there's an offer in this case from the state of an adjudication of guilt and court costs.
Okay.
Mr. Jesus Morales would like to accept that offer.
Is that correct? You'd like to enter pleas of no contest to both those charges? All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
Not at all.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No.
All right, that plea form you're going to hand there, make sure you understand everything and then sign it.
Okay.
One day. Do you have any questions about the rights on it?
No.
All right. You understand that the resisting is punishable, or both those charges actually are punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to a $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your pleas would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, I understand
All right.
that.
Go ahead, State.
Your Honor, the offer included 5 days OCJ.
Oh,
He's got 1. So it's 5. Talk to him.
you're looking at days for Morales, right?
Yep.
I guess. That's fine.
You still want to go forward? All right. I will judge you guilty of count 1, resisting 5 days in the Orange County Jail. You do have 1 day credit for time served. As to the providing false ID, 5 days in the Orange County Jail, judge guilty, 1 day credit for time served. Will be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. It's a total of $273. Would you like to pay that in 90 days, or would you like a payment plan?
I'll do a payment plan.
$20 a month, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
First payment due by May 17th, and every 30 days thereafter till it's paid in full.
Okay.
Okay, all righty.
Good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
guys.
Your name, sir?
Malik Hayward.
Mr. Hayward, you're here today because state of Florida alleges that you did, or that you are charged with, arrested on charge of trespass. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and I do find sufficient probable cause. I'll set bond in the amount of $100 and appoint a public defender.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's it? You still trying to give me a release today? Or is that still?
You gotta have your mom post the bond.
Step up.
Juvenile.
Your name, ma'am?
Yeah, I want to get more. I don't want to be out there.
Your name?
Nadira LaForte.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of petty theft. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient, I'm signing on the wrong side, sorry. Whoops. I do find sufficient probable cause. I'll set bond in the amount of $500, and we'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Most of the ones are on the other side usually when I'm signing it. Like a lot of the forms, the judges over on this side, so that's why it looks, yeah, that's why it was messed up. Your name, sir? Yeah, no 500. I just stated.
Michael Mason.
Mr. Mason, you're here today because you were arrested for the charge of possession of drug paraphernalia and disorderly conduct. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause.
And Your Honor, there is an offer in this case. I should check if I have it now. I have an adjudication of guilt and court costs on the drug paraphernalia, 5 days OCJ, and a no process for the disorderly.
Yeah. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you're entering a plea of no contest then to the possession of drug paraphernalia. Is that your understanding? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead and look that over and sign that paperwork.
Yeah.
2. Okay. All right. So are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
This plea form, you understood all the rights on it?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about the rights that are on that form?
No, sir.
You understand that the possession of drug paraphernalia is punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to a $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen?
Yes, sir.
All right. I do find sufficient factual basis to accept your plea. I will judge you guilty. Sentence 5 days in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit for the time you previously served. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost to the state, and I'm going to reduce that to a judgment.
Okay.
So you don't have to pay that. All right? Thank you.
Process count two.
Okay, thank you. State and all process count 2.
Have a nice day.
You too. Your name, sir?
Billy Niels, Your Honor.
Mr. Neal, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of possession of drug paraphernalia. I've reviewed the charging affidavit and I do find sufficient probable cause.
Your Honor, there's an offer from the state in this case of an adjudication of guilt for a cost of 5 days. I would ask the court if they would consider time served, given that Mr. Neal was extremely cooperative with the police.
What does he have, 2? He was just here on March 4th.
You can tell him that if you want.
My birthday's tomorrow, Your Honor, and I was trying my best. It just so happened that happened, and if you can give me a break
All
out of
right.
the state, I'd be so very happy. You won't see me again for another 10
Well,
years.
don't promise things you can't live up to, don't. You
Yes.
probably won't see me because I'm not here usually. Thank
Okay,
God.
sir.
All right, so you want to enter a plea of no contest then to the charge of possession of drug paraphernalia?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No, no, Your Honor.
Go ahead and sign that form. Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that form you just signed, you understood all the rights on it?
Yes, Your
Do you have
Honor.
any questions about those rights?
No, Your Honor.
You understand that this is punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to a $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will judge you guilty of that. 2 days in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit for time served. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. Did you want to pay that $273 in 90 days, or would you like a payment plan?
A payment plan, Your Honor.
Can you afford $20 a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
First payment will be due by the 17th of May, and then every 30 days thereafter until it's paid in full.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
righty. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, State.
Your name? Excuse me, your name?
Slater Norette.
All right, Mr. Norette, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass on property after warning. And I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause.
Your Honor, Mr. Norette is hard of hearing, and he's asking for a headset. He's indicating that he can't.
Okay. All right.
I apologize.
It's all right. Want to just pass him, or you have him? Okay, you all set? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass after warning. And I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in that case in the amount of $500.
Your Honor, there's an offer to resolve the case.
Okay.
Mr. Norette would ask the court if he resolved his case, if the court would still be taking action as to the other case.
If he resolves the case, then I'll let those go.
Okay, he would like to resolve his case. The offer I have from the state is adjudication of guilt for cost and no return to the scene.
That's what you wish to do, is enter plea of no contest to that charge?
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead and sign that. Okay. I'll make sure I sign the right side. All right, Mr. Norette, you're entering a plea of no contest then to the charge of trespass, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
I've been handed a plea form. You understood the rights on that and signed it, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any questions about the rights on that form?
No, sir.
Do you understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen?
Yes, sir.
All right, I do find sufficient factual basis. I will judge you guilty of that offense. 2 days in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit for the time you've served. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. Did you want to pay that in 90 days, or would you like a payment plan?
90 days.
All right, pay within 90 days it is. Your paperwork will explain that. And just stay the other stuff. Your name, sir?
Louis Perez, sir.
Mr. Perez, you're here today because you were arrested for a charge of trespass on property after warning and 1 count of possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I do find sufficient probable cause after reviewing the charging affidavit.
Your Honor, there's an offer in this case of an adjudication of guilt on both counts and no return to the scene, 5 days Orange County Jail. Mr. Perez would like to accept that offer if the court's going to take no action on the other.
That's fine. Does he have a driver's license? Because I will be suspending his license for a year. Hmm.
In exchange for more jail time, no.
Maybe some more jail. A couple of days.
And then a whistle.
Title result.
If you lose, you can keep your license and you can get it back. do the 5 days and lose his license for a year, so.
Okay. So you want to enter pleas of no contest then to both of those charges, is that right? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Suffer from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
All right, that plea form, you understood all the rights on it, and then you signed it?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about the rights on that form?
No, sir.
Okay, you understand that these are both punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your pleas would result in deportation if you're not a citizen?
Yes, sir.
All right. I do find sufficient factual basis as to count one. I'll sentence you to 5 days in the Orange County Jail. Be a judge guilty of that. 5 days with 2 days credit for time served. As to count two, I'll judge you guilty of the charge of possession of cannabis. You'll be 5 days in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit for time. Is it 1 or 2? 2 days credit for time served. Also direct the clerk of the court to notify the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles that your driver's privilege should be suspended for a period of 1 year as based upon an adjudication violation of 893.136B. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. Did you want to pay that in 90 days, or would you like a payment plan?
90 days.
Pay within 90 days it is.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll stay the bond on the other thing. Leave it alone. Your name, sir? Your name?
My name's Kadeem Wright.
Mr. Wright, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass after warning. It says dwelling. Oh, okay, it is. All right. Trespass in a dwelling after warning, I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond amount of $500. Appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, there's an offer from the state of an adjudication of guilt, 15 days OCJ, and no return to the scene. Mr. Wright would like to know if the court would be willing to come down to 10 days.
No, I don't think so. But they're, you know, I don't want to really mess with his offers too much.
Yeah, giving him his record, Your Honor, now.
And the state is asking for no return to the scene, but all of Mr. Wright's things are there. Can he return one time with law
Yep.
enforcement to pick up his things?
With law enforcement one time.
Go back one time. If you need to talk to her, if you need to tell him to leave. You don't have to do it. You don't have to.
Thank you.
All right, so you decided you do wish to enter a plea of no contest into the charge. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Can is it all right that you is that the courts could do me in favors to send like an officer or some type of help out there to the hotel? That my daughters and my family is there with all my.
Yeah, what'll happen is you're gonna have to contact either sheriff or the local law enforcement, and they'll go with you one time to get your personal items. Not, you can't go and get like, you know, furniture or anything, but you can go with, but you have to go with somebody. You can't go by yourself.
No, I know that part. I'm saying Monday, she have no financials. None. I have my credit card and everything here. My family, my daughters, and all our stuff is there.
You can release your property to her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So you do want to enter a plea of no contest? All right. Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No.
This plea form, you understood all the rights and then signed it on the
Yes,
bottom.
sir.
Is that right? Any
Yes, sir.
questions about the rights?
I know.
All right. You understand that this is punishable by up to a year in the county jail, up to a $1,000 fine, and that the entry of your plea may result in deportation if you're not a citizen. Understand? Yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will judge you guilty of that. It'd be 15 days in the Orange County Jail with 2 days credit for time served. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. Do you want to pay that in 90 days, or would you like a payment plan?
You can D6 my license, it don't matter.
What's that?
So you can D6 my license, it don't
Oh,
matter.
no. Well, we'll get to that, but which one do you not want to do first? So do you want to have, say, 90 days and then they'll D6 it, or you want a payment plan?
Oh, I'd take the payment plan.
All right, payment plan, $20 a month, first payment due by the 17th of May. And then finally, you're not to return to that hotel yourself. Now, you can have any contact you want with your family members, obviously. That's not a part of it. It's just you can't go back to the hotel because they don't want you there. If they're not, as long as they are not there, in other words, if they go to another hotel or whatever, that's fine. Anything you have in your property here, you can release to her also. Yep, okay? All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Your name, ma'am?
Andrea Davis.
Jennifer Cross, did she bond? Oh, no, that's out of court.
No, they have me under Jennifer Cross, but that's
Oh.
not my name.
Okay. All right, Ms. Cross, you're here because you're being held on out-of-county warrant from Leon County, and there's no bond on those two counts.
October 3rd, 1993.
Your Honor,
What was that? Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Count 1 is no bond, count 2 is 500, and it looks like it is,
That was, I believe it.
was there another one too? Okay, thank you. Yeah, count 2 is 500, and the first one's no bond, though.
So what, I have to wait for Leon County to come get me?
Yeah,
or-
they're gonna come get you.
Do you know
Orange
when?
County, nah, I don't, no clue. Orange County will, of course, contact them, and then, I mean, yeah. Best, who knows? I mean, you're not gonna be here a month. You might here be a couple days, or less.
So can I have my lawyer get the bond the warrant lifted somehow from here?
If your lawyer wants to go in Leon County, speaks to the judge who issued that warrant in Leon County, and they enter an order, absolutely, they can get a certified copy, and then they'll give you a bond down here and let you bond out. It's just that we can't, I'm not gonna do anything with an out-of-county bond. Can't do it. But if they go to Leon County, whoever the judge is that issued that original warrant, they can set any kind of bond they want, and then that'll get into the system, and we'll know.
So they might come get me from here in a couple of days, you say?
I'm not going to say that because I can't promise anything. I would be surprised if it's more than 3 or 4 days. But if your lawyer were to go to Leon tomorrow, and then they could get the bonds here tomorrow. Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right. Your name, sir?
Sebastian Lewis Martin Fernandez.
All right, refuse. Sebastian. What about Michael Hoggabook? Refuse. Denise Seitz? Mental health. Wow, we're just rolling through them now. All right, now, Sebastian, Mr. Fernandez, you're here on a violation of probation warrant signed by Judge Whitehead. There is no bond on that. And it was for the charge of tampering with physical evidence and fleeing attempting to elude. There's no bond in both of those. I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Thank you, sir.
Man, that's how good that is, man. They're good at that. In my courtroom, we get those things I look at and go, that's not worth anything. Your name, ma'am?
Autumn Wright.
Miss Wright, you're here because you're arrested on a violation of probation warrant from Judge Jordan here in Orange County. There is no bond on that. I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, Miss Wright has a child that she cares for that's currently with her mother. She doesn't think that'll work for much longer. We would be asking if the court would consider, even though they're setting a bond, setting a bond.
Can't. But obviously, we appoint a public defender. You can get with whoever is in Judge Jordan's division, and they may be able to get something done tomorrow. One, 2 more. Not that I'm counting. Your name, sir?
Ramzair Taylor.
Mr. Taylor would like to resolve his case, Your Honor, if the court has it on. That camping.
Time, sir.
All right, what about the shower and toothbrush and toothpaste? Why go? Oh, that's it? Okay. And what about my clothes? Okay. All right then. That's it? No, no. Okay, yeah. Oh, 5 what? No.
All right, so, Mr. Taylor, you wish to enter a plea of no contest, is that right? To the charge of camping?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Yes.
What for?
For major depression with psychotic episodes.
Take medication for that?
No, that was
Okay.
3 years ago.
So you're not suffering
No,
from that
I'm
anymore?
clean,
Okay, all right.
sober, and medication free.
Okay, great. Did this plea form, you understood the rights on that and then signed it?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
No, sir.
You understand that this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea might result in deportation if you're not a citizen? That's
Yeah.
the maximum. That's not what's going to happen. Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right?
Yes, sir.
I do find sufficient factual basis to accept your plea. I'll judge you guilty. You'll be sentenced to the time you've served in the Orange County Jail would be 2 days. Is that right? 2 days with 2 days credit for time served. There'll be court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. Total of court costs is $273. Would you like to pay that in 90 days, or would you like a payment plan?
I guess a payment plan.
All right, can you do $20 a month?
Your Honor, would you be willing to reduce that to a civil judgment? He's indicated that he's homeless and wouldn't have any way to pay it.
Okay.
If you buy a house, you're gonna probably don't have money. But look at the
All right, you're all set.
You laughing?
Thank you.
Your name, sir? Your name?
Alberto Weaver.
Mr. Weaver, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of camping. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause.
Your Honor, the other 2018 CF case, I can't tell if he's already been declared incompetent due to intellectual disability or whether.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't show any bond or anything. He's just got to be back on May 2nd.
I don't know if the court would consider mental health PTR given the competency issue.
Doesn't really apply. Doesn't really qualify, does he? I mean, the problem is I just don't have anything. Do we have anything that indicates that he has, that that's really the situation?
I can,
No indication on there.
Well, give me 1 moment, I can check this.
So it says, okay, he currently is out on PTR. So is it mental health? Do we know? It is.
It looks like he has not been declared incompetent yet, Your Honor. There is, a court-ordered evaluation likelihood getting scheduled. On February 15th, there was an order appointing an expert. And then Judge Jordan released him on February 18th.
What's that conditions?
I just have the court minutes say PTR granted, defendant released on judicial pretrial release as to this case. Doesn't look like the judge signed an order. It looked like it was just a hearing in court. Oh, here's another order. Let's see. The PTR paperwork he signed from pretrial release does not indicate any special conditions. The special conditions section is left blank. It just says, won't leave the state of Florida without
All right,
permission.
I'll set bond in the amount of $250 or mental health pretrial release if he qualifies. Whichever one, or you can just get it over with.
Because I go to court May 2nd.
Oh, and I'll leave that. He's already got a mental health thing going on that. I'll leave that in place, since I'm not even. That I won't violate the other pretrial release.
Mental health release on this one.
When, Judge, I go to court May 2nd at 8:30
Okay.
for the,
We have a new candidate.
Right, the other charge. Right.
On this charge, you have a bond or you can get mental health.
It's a bond of $250 or mental health pretrial release if you qualify. You should, you're already out on it. It looks like you're out on pretrial release of some type.
I think the judge.
There's a competency hearing set 5-2. According
Go
to
May
Odyssey.
2nd at 8:30 for my pre-trial.
Yeah. Have you already gone to see the doctor yet?
No, I'll go May 2nd to see him at 8:30.
Well, May 2nd is the hearing. Have you already gone and been evaluated?
No, I went to court on Thursday at 8:30.
So that's when you're gonna go?
Yeah, May 2nd.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Just PTR him. He's doing what he's, I'm not fear, yeah, just straight up is fine. Because what's that?
He doesn't qualify for straight PTR because he's
Oh.
already out on PTR. So you gotta do the mental health PTR or both?
Yeah, do that. Okay. All right. Yeah, you'll be out. Just don't miss your appointments. Okay. I mean, that's what you want to hear. He knows when he's supposed to be and where he's going.
That's all he's got.
Yeah, that's not what you usually hear, unfortunately.